You, Caridad, what do you see as the role of the regulator in helping better understanding of heterogeneity and giving advice on what to do about that in practice?
Well, I think that the regulator has to emphasize that there is a need to check for heterogeneity in the data sets that are submitted to support applications, and that minimum testing of consistency inside the data is necessary. But at the same time, there is the need to check what happens in special populations that you can predict will happen from a priori point of view. So I think that the regulator needs to ensure that the decisions are both equally acceptable for the general population, but also taking into consideration if the effects are similar in different groups.
So what does that mean in practice for researchers wishing to conduct good quality clinical trials?
Well, I think that they need to ask themselves which are the potential characteristics that may modulate the response to the drug before starting clinical trials, so that they can have a prospective definition of what they want to explore later on. And, I think that this exercise must be led by rational understanding of mechanisms of action and variability in the population.
Okay, and Caridad, to what extent do you think that regulator and clinicians should pay attention to patients' view and about their medication, thinking that they have information through the media and through internet, which are not always correct information?
Well, I think that the role of the patient, as we get to smaller populations with recognition of heterogeneity and personalization of the medicine, the role of the patient has to be taken into account progressively more and more, because this is something we have ignored for many years, just taking decisions between regulators, researchers, and physicians, but the patient was kind of a passive object there. And this has to change, mainly because the information is out there. But the information they get is an information that is generally issued by companies. And there is very few information available for them which is really balanced or neutral. So I think that we need to uptake the opinion of patients. At the regulatory involvement, patients are actually having a voice at most of the European agency committees. And also at the time of designing research, this is something that is innovative and it's coming on as a major trend. And obviously at the time of deciding what treatment they should receive, preferences of the patients are something which must be taken very much into account. But also we need to inform them.
Yeah. Do you think there is a place for academic people or for regulatory people to hold blogs or forum, or to be implicated in the kind of information the patient can find on the internet? Because as you say, it's very often driven by industry, but maybe we should be more involved in this kind of communication.
Well, actually, there is some information that is addressed to patients. For instance, in the EMA, every time you get an approval, you get this information which is for the general public on a small summary of what the new approval is meaning. But I think that this kind of information should be wider and should be more widespread, so that the information they get is not just that we are forbidding them access to Sovaldi, but also what does this drug actually do, and what are innovative medicines meaning, and for whom are they very, very good opportunity, but for whom of them are not, so that they can have a little more information on the criteria that is applied to authorize drugs and to use them.
I think patients still have the perception, they go to see a doctor and they're given a medicine as if it's the medicine, not them. To what extent do you think in practice now prescribers are getting the message about trying to be careful about thinking about differences, gender, age, underlying diseases, other aspects which may be important, ethnicity, and so on?
Yeah, I think this is something that clinicians do better than we do at the time of designing research, for instance. I think that really this has been changed. The kind of patient that is coming to the practice has been changed quite a lot. Before we were trained, used to patients that were coming just to accept whatever we were advising to them. And now they come informed and they have read information and they have plenty of questions. So I think that for the clinicians, this is something already happening. The point is to what extent are we, from the regulatory, from the research point of view, also taking this participation of patients, and I think we are, but we will much more in the upcoming years. This is something, the whole thing is changing, and I think it's good for everyone. It's a good opportunity, but also it's a good moment to try to do things right.
Thank you both very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Marie.